All right, today I want to discuss a very important topic, probably the most important topic when it comes to us investors, and this is achieving the goal of retiring early. After all, that's the entire point behind why we do what we do. We invest in growth and income assets in order to achieve a level of financial independence and just have more control over our time versus always working for money and being stuck in the rat race. So I went ahead and did a few different calculations to try and see how much money you need to retire using different assets. And I ran these calculations with a few things in mind. So one of them is how much money do you actually spend in retirement? Things like the average Social Security monthly payment. And then finally, at the end of the video, I want to go over this post on the Financial Independence subreddit. It says, I'm a doctor quitting 1.5 years into my career due to burnout and attempting to FIRE on $2,000 a month. I think this is a very touching post, and it's another great reminder on why we invest. And as always, if you guys enjoy the video, you know what to do. Leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm, and I greatly appreciate it. Okay, so the very first step in trying to retire early is to identify how much monthly income you will need. A good place to start is the average check for Social Security, and right now that's sitting around $1,400 per month. And about 40% of retirees rely solely on Social Security for retirement income. So this might seem like a small amount of money to live off of, but currently millions of people do this. So if you want to retire as fast as possible and replicate this, I'm going to show you how much money you need. Now, ideally, we're going to have more money than this to live off of, and when it comes to the average retirement income in 2021, the number is around $48,000 per year, or about $4,000 per month, and that's a very comfortable amount of money to retire off of, so I'm going to be showing you how much money you need in different investments to achieve that. But keep in mind, the amount of income that you personally need in order to retire early is fully dependent on you and your lifestyle. So this article, for example, is what are the average living expenses for a single person? And if I scroll down a little bit here, it says $5,100 per month. Now, if we come over to this article, it says minimalist living, how to thrive on $1,000 per month. So you can see the broad spectrum based off of your lifestyle. Now, I think $1,000 per month and $5,000 per month are both pretty extreme. So in my final scenario, I have a goal of $2,000 per month, and I show you how to achieve that. All right, so that's the goal and what we're striving for, and the first vehicle to achieve that is going to be the bond route. BND is the Vanguard Total Bond Market ETF, and it's a great proxy for this, and it has a very low dividend yield of about 2%. Now, because of this very low yield and just the current condition of the economy with the Fed expected to raise rates pretty aggressively over the next couple of years, it's pretty much common knowledge at this point that bonds are not your best investment. But even so, let's quickly entertain the idea. So bonds are going to yield you roughly 2% per year. And here we have the three major goals we just talked about. So $1,400 is that average Social Security payment. $4,000 of income per month when retired is very comfortable. And achieving the $2,000 per month is a realistic figure for somebody trying to retire as early as possible. So if you try to achieve this with bonds, it's going to take you $840,000 to replicate the income from Social Security, $1.2 million to achieve $2,000 per month, and $2.4 million to achieve $4,000 in income. So hopefully now you can see why in this environment, bonds really are not your best choice when you want to retire and have monthly income. Now the next option is to live off of dividends, and the proxy for this is SCHD, which is one of the best and highest quality dividend ETFs on the market. And I'm going to round up and say the dividend yield is 3%. So the yield is just 1% higher than bonds, but we're going to see how much of a difference that makes. So again, we're going to have the same exact monthly income goals, but with a 3% dividend yield, you only need $560,000 to achieve $1,400 per month in income. That's almost $300,000 less than with bonds. You would need $800,000 to have $2,000 a month in income, and lastly, $1.6 million to have $4,000 a month in passive retirement income. So even though a 1% difference between these two assets doesn't seem huge, it does have a massive impact. And keep in mind, this is just the yield on your assets. In the past 1 year, SCHD appreciated 22%, which is way above average, but that's still a huge impact on your finances. And during that same time, the Vanguard Total Bond Market Index is actually down 3.6%. So on top of this income, if you had this $800,000 invested in SCHD Over the past 1 year, you would also have $160,000 in capital appreciation. Now, the next category is using covered calls to supercharge dividend income while maintaining the prospects for additional capital appreciation. And my two favorite options for this are XYLG and Divo. They have very different strategies, but they both have great price appreciation and share roughly a 5% dividend yield. And seeing how that affects achieving a level of monthly income, you would only need $336,000 to achieve $1,400 a month in income. A nest egg of only $480,000 to have $2,000 a month in pure passive income. And finally, less than $1 million, only $960,000 to have a very comfortable $4,000 a month in retirement income. And zooming out a little bit here, this is why I'm such a fan of these hybrid ETFs, because they can dramatically shorten the amount of time you need in order to retire and achieve these goals. And you can do this without sacrificing most price appreciation. Now, the final stock-related path is to use the highest yielding assets possible. And currently, that's a mixture of using stablecoins on a platform like Celsius or BlockFi to earn a 9-10% interest rate off of a stablecoin, as well as an asset like QYLD, which fully gives up price appreciation and focuses on income, giving you a 12% yield at the current moment. Now, I wouldn't recommend going all in on this strategy because it's very extreme, and whenever you have an extreme strategy, there's usually hefty trade-offs. And in this case, it's essentially zero price appreciation. This yield is going to be 100% of the return. But because of that, if you wanted to retire using the average of Social Security, $1,400 per month, you only need $168,000. And that is where the power of the strategy comes into play. If we compare that versus even the previous example with a 5% yield, that was $336,000. So this could potentially save you a lot of time. For $2,000 of monthly income, you only need $240,000. And lastly, for a comfortable $4,000 per month in retirement income, less than $500,000 at $480,000. Now, before we move on, I do want to include one more section, and this is going to be real estate, or more specifically using Airbnb, because I think this is a great way to earn passive income, and short-term rentals versus long-term rentals, aka Airbnb, is a great way to maximize that income. The average Airbnb income is $924 per month. Now, this number varies widely, but let's do a few simple calculations here. So coming on Airbnb here, you don't always need an expensive condo in the middle of a major city. We're currently looking at small houses in New Hampshire, places people like to go for skiing and just to get away from it all. And from looking at this, it seems like these small little houses can earn $150 to $200 per night. In fact, taking a look at this listing, we can see this house is nothing special. It's 3 beds, 1 bath, and they're charging $150 per night. And if we try to look for a similar house on Zillow, this house is also 3 beds, 1 bath, same general location and size, and they want around $300,000. So let's do some basic math here. A 20% down payment on a $300,000 property is a $60,000 investment and a $240,000 loan. That equates to a monthly mortgage payment of $1,080 at a 3.52% rate. The average utility bill is around $120 per month, and I added $100 of insurance for a total monthly expense of $1,300. And when it comes to the income this property can generate, $150 per night times 25 nights equals $3,750 of monthly revenue, minus the expenses, $2,450, and I always like to round down to account for other fees and costs, so $2,000 per month off of a $60,000 down payment. And that's great. If we come back and compare that to the hybrid ETFs, one of my favorite options, to get that same $2,000 in monthly income, you'll need $480,000. But with a short-term Airbnb rental, you can do the same thing with a $300,000 property, leverage the bank's money, and really only spend $60,000 of your own capital. All right, now to finish off this video, I want to read some of this post in r/financial independence, which is titled, "I'm a doctor quitting 1.5 years into my career due to burnout and attempting FIRE on just $2,000 per month." And this should act as a fantastic reminder of why we strive for financial independence. So in this section, it says, "Why I quit. The goal is for me to work at least 5 years. A year into it, I'd already felt so burnt out, had anxiety from dealing with patients throughout COVID, and couldn't sleep most nights. Had a horrible boss who made me realize what a toxic environment healthcare could be, and just absolutely hated coming into work every day at 5 a.m. I battled with self-loathing and feeling like a failure. So you can get a sense for the struggle this person is going through, even though they're a doctor and that's a position many people strive to be in. But life is short and this person is not living a life that they enjoy, going to work every day at 5 a.m. and dealing with a toxic boss. Now the good news is that to get out of this, they live a very cheap lifestyle. So they live in a low cost of living town and together spend around $1,000 per month. We live very frugally and achieve this by living in a duplex. Here it says, together over the years, we've accumulated several sources of semi-passive income, including 4 multifamily properties, 2 dropshipping businesses, 2 single-family Airbnbs that we arbitrage and do not own, and 2 cars that we rent out on various car-sharing services. These are all great additional ways to achieve passive monthly income in order to get out of living a life that you really do not enjoy. So I want to end the video by saying that life is short and you need to enjoy it, and achieving financial independence is the best way to do that in my view. And here I showed you guys a couple of ways to achieve certain levels of income using different assets, so that way you can gain ownership back of your life. That's going to be the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed and you're still watching, definitely give it a like, subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. But regardless, I'll see you guys in the next one.